Joao Pedro, 3 appearances in the Club World Cup, and all you see is just 3 excellent performances. The questions that we have today is he the answer for Chelsea's striker problem? Because Chelsea have really struggled in this position. And we are going to tactically analyze the last 3 Club World Cup games that Joao Pedro has played, and what does he offer for Chelsea in attack as well as in defense. Now, Joao Pedro has started off on a high at Chelsea, winning the Club World Cup, which I believe is going to be one of the major trophies in world football in the years to come. And he has already won it, and he said that his main reason for coming to Chelsea is to win trophies, and he has already done it before even getting to Cobham. Now, when you look at this goal here, this actually summarizes what Joao Pedro brings to Chelsea and what Chelsea have lacked, and that is an elite finisher. But the question is he just that? Now, when you look at this clip here, what you notice is that Pedro Neto has managed to bypass Fluminense's fullback. But look at the position of Joao Pedro. Joao Pedro is able to move from the position where he was between a center back and a wide center back to actually go and occupy the other side, because he knows that Neto will need that space once he dribbles. Neto is able to dribble, but the midfielder is able to drop fast to actually win the ball off Neto, because if Neto had won this ball here, then Joao Pedro will have been in an easier position to receive a cutback from Pedro Neto and actually score a goal for Chelsea. Now, his movement is also quite good. Before we start this analysis, if you are new in this channel, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We have seen there's some building of a chemistry between Cole Palmer and Joao Pedro. And Cole Palmer is Chelsea's best creator, and he needed a striker who's able to actually ensure that Cole Palmer gets more and more assists. So, not only is Joao Pedro so influential based on his finishing, his movement and his flair is also something that is adding a lot of unpredictability to Chelsea's attack. And that is what we have to talk about today. Now, one thing that I noticed about Joao Pedro is the way he moves around the center backs. Now, the way Chelsea scored their first goal, with Palmer pulling Mendes out of position, there is a reason why Beraldo did not shift across to cover Gusto. And that is because of the positioning of Joao Pedro. Joao Pedro's positioning always ensured that he occupied the 2 center backs. But what he did in the final third is what makes me happy. He drifted towards the right, while Fernandes drifted towards the left to create that space to allow Palmer to Palmer's shot. And this is something that tells you about a good player. That is the IQ. How he's able to move without the ball. And that is one of the strengths that Joao Pedro has. Even the strength to allow Chelsea to have the opportunity to have Palmer actually receive the ball in between the lines, again is pegged on how Joao Pedro was able to pin Beraldo and the movement of Gusto, but most importantly, Joao Pedro. Because with Joao Pedro's position, he's able to occupy the 2 center backs, allowing Chelsea to play that ball to Cole Palmer, making Cole Palmer to be free. And once Palmer receives this ball, the movement of Joao Pedro is also quite interesting, in that he moves out wide to create that space for Palmer. Look at this situation. Look at the position of Fernandes, look at the position of Joao Pedro, and look at the position of Cole Palmer. And Joao Pedro is starting from this position and is going to move from this position to... Now, the movement of Joao Pedro is so keen in this game. Here, look at how Palmer is receiving the ball, and look at the position that Joao Pedro is picking. Joao Pedro is picking a position where he's occupying Beraldo. And that position that he's occupying Beraldo, he does not just stick there. He looks to make a run between Beraldo and Marquinhos, and once he does that, he isolates Mendes in a 2v1 situation against Cole Palmer and Malo Gusto. And because of this scenario that you're able to see here, Joao Pedro is able to create those areas, that space that Palmer needs, so that Palmer is able to create something out of nothing in those kinds of situations. But that is only happening based on Joao Pedro's overall position. Here is Chelsea versus Fluminense, and look at the position of Joao Pedro. Palmer is the one who's holding is actually stretching the defense deeper. Joao Pedro is moving closer to the ball. And he's not just moving closer to the ball. He knows how to move closer to the ball and actually play an interesting pass. So he will drop so deep to receive the ball, but he can already see players who are making runs, and he knows where to actually play the ball once he receives it. So once the ball is played to his feet, he's able to shuffle the ball outside. Now in this clip, Joao Pedro is the one who's pushing the defense line deeper, creating space in midfield so that Chelsea can flood the midfield with their midfielders and look to create problems for the opponent. And this is what I like about Joao Pedro. It's not his finishing, it is his movement. It is the way he's able to read the game. It's the way he's able to create space for his opponent. But defensively, is also super important. Chelsea's high press is only possible with Joao Pedro, because the striker is the one who initiates the fast press. And Joao Pedro has stepped up. The way he is pressing is super remarkable, because you're seeing that in the initial first to 15 minutes when Chelsea wanted to make it a problem for PSG to play, Joao Pedro's energy was super important in that time when Chelsea were looking to create that problem. And even when they wanted to settle in a zonal system, the way he was able to block the middle of the park was also something that is super interesting, because he's able to stop that ball from being played through the middle and actually create space for himself. And that is what forced PSG to try and use the wide areas. And I want to show you. Look at this structure. Fluminense is trying to build from the back, but look at the position that Joao Pedro is picking. He's picking that central position. He's ready to pounce onto the ball immediately the goalkeeper plays it, because without him, the press is actually broken. Here again, Donnarumma wants to play the ball, and look at the position that Joao Pedro has. He knows his center back. He knows how he's going to curve his run when he's pressing, so that Donnarumma has no choice. And in this case, Donnarumma literally does not have any choice and is forced to go long. And even when he chooses to go through the sides, look at Joao Pedro's position. He's closer to Beraldo, but he's looking to apply pressure to the player who has the ball, so that the ball cannot be played back to Beraldo, but rather long, so that Chelsea can win that ball. But what fascinates me the most is the structure during build-up. Look at this situation here. Chelsea are looking to build, PSG are looking to build from the back. Look at the position of Joao Pedro. Look at the position of Fernandes. Because of this position, it forces Donnarumma to go long, and once Donnarumma goes long, Chelsea are able to regain possession. And this all starts from how Joao Pedro is looking to press. So when you look at his on the ball attribute and his off the ball attribute, you are realizing that you have a striker who understands the game. A striker who's super intelligent with and without the ball. And he also brings that Brazilian spice, which is to rattle the opposition players. And you saw even in the final game what Luis Enrique did to him and how he managed to rattle PSG players. And that is one thing that I always like to have a teammate who's like that, because at Chelsea we have lacked that Diego Costa who just rattles the opponent. So I also like that. I like that player who the opponents dislike, that player who's able to wind up the opponents. And if Joao Pedro is able to give this, then it means that Chelsea can really benefit next season from opponents getting yellow cards and red cards, because they cannot control their temper. What do you think? If you agree with my analysis, leave your comments in the comment section area below. Thanks for watching, and see you in our next video.